Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. At 1:47 a.m. my phone buzzed on the nightstand. One line from Rachel. In the office, don't wait up. 23 minutes later my screen lit again. Not from her. My buddy Mark sent a screenshot. You seeing this? It was Rachel's IG story. Location tag glowed. Murphy's Bar. Her glass in frame. Mirror behind her. A man's shoulder in the corner and a caption. Brainstorm never sleeps. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have started the clock sooner. I lay there and watched the ceiling. At 2:31 I put the phone face down, got up, and brewed coffee I didn't need. When you're my age, you don't do speeches at 2 in the morning. You fish for facts and line them up like tools on a bench. By 3:05 I had screenshots, her text with the Zoxo, the Murphy's tag, the timestamps. I dropped them into a folder I titled Tuesday. Then I set an alarm for 6 o'clock, scheduled a bank appointment for the afternoon, and went back to bed without waking her when she finally drifted in at 4:20 and slid under the sheet like a teenager sneaking past curfew. She smelled like citrus soap from the office bathroom. Not my house. Not our house. Morning hit. She came down in a blazer I'd never seen, one of those sharp ones that photograph well under conference room lights. Rough night? I asked, tapping the counter with a spoon. I kept my voice neutral, the way you do when you don't want to coach the witness. The deck exploded, she said, reaching for the travel mug. We had to rebuild it with Kevin. With Kevin, I repeated, as if it were a brand of power tool. Was Murphy's the new conference room? She blinked. What? Your story. Murphy's Bar. A solid place for data integrity. She pulled a face like I'd insulted a nephew. It's across the street from the office. We needed a booth. You texted in the office. We were. Then we weren't. Why is this an interrogation? It's a question, I said. And the answer matters because we share a mortgage, a child, and a calendar. She took a breath through the nose. Daniel, tonight is the pitch rehearsal. I can't unpack your tone right now. I poured coffee into a mug and slid it to her. Then here's the practical version. Starting tonight, I won't wait up for you. Doors lock at 10. If you're not home, sleep where you are. That's punitive. It's policy, I said. I get up at 5. Our son reads his chapter at 8. Pick the team you want to play for. She stared at me. You're being dramatic. No, I told her. I'm being precise. She put the mug down without drinking. You know what? I don't need this. You do, I said. We both do. 10 o'clock. She grabbed her keys, shook her head, and left. The lock clicked like a little hammer. I looked at the empty mug, then at the clock. 7:14. I texted Mark. Need you at Murphy's tonight if you're free. Sit at the back. Don't engage. He texted a thumbs up and the skull emoji. He thinks he's funny. At 8:03 I packed our kids' lunch, signed the reading log, and answered his question about volcanoes. He asked where Mom was. I told him she'd be home for dinner. It wasn't a bet. It was a test I already knew the answer to. I spent my lunch hour not eating. Bank at noon. I moved the emergency fund to a separate account, shifted the joint bill pay to my card, took my name off her gas card, and set alerts for any withdrawals over 100. The banker didn't ask why. I'm a contractor. We shuffle money all the time. When I left, I added a second folder to Tuesday. I called it Logistics. At 3, I flagged an attorney who'd helped a friend draft a simple separation last year. Consult only, I told the receptionist. No fireworks. She scheduled me for Thursday morning. I made a list on paper. Paper slows you down. I want my hand to remember this. After school, I took our son to the park. We threw a ball. He told me about a classmate's dog. Ordinary life. That's the part people forget. You can live inside a storm and still slice oranges. Rachel texted at 6:18, running late. Kevin needs me on the deck. Don't wait dinner. I texted back. We already ate. That was true. She texted a smiley. I clicked my phone off and put it in the drawer. She came home at 11:40. I heard the garage door, the careful steps. She tried the interior door. It was locked. She knocked once, twice. I opened. I didn't make her stand out there like a delivery. I'm not in the humiliation business. That's childish, she said, stepping in. It's 10 p.m. policy, I answered. We reviewed it this morning. She dropped her tote by the bench. We were rehearsing. Is Kevin also rehearsing your manners? I asked. Because you text me you're in the office and then tag a bar at 2 in the morning. That's not rehearsal. That's a pattern. She folded her arms. You're controlling. I'm consistent, I said. Two different sports. And what? You're going to what? Ground me. No, I said. I'm going to stop subsidizing late-night spontaneity with my sleep, my time, and my home. 10 p.m. stands. Phone location sharing is back on for both of us, or we don't share calendars. Financials are split. If you're out past 10, message where you are and where you're sleeping. If there's an emergency, I'll answer the phone. Otherwise, I'm off duty. This is insane. It's an adult schedule. She looked at me like I'd replace myself with my sharper twin. You can't just change the rules. I can when the rules are being rewritten without me. I said, you want freedom? Fine. Choose it and live by it honestly. She exhaled. You're overreacting to a tag. I'm reacting to a string of nights with the same cast and the same caption, I said. I'm also reacting to the Zoxo from a work message at 1:47 a.m. That's not professional language. She looked away. It was a joke. Then you won't mind if I ask your team lead how the joke lands on the company handbook. You wouldn't. Not tonight, I said. Tonight, I'm going to bed. She stared at me another beat, then walked past. You've become impossible. I've become alert, I replied. I slept fine. 2 days later, the coach texted that Rachel had missed our son's reading showcase. It wasn't a catastrophe. He still read, but he did scan the doorway twice. On the way home, he was quiet. I didn't fill the silence. I made him a grilled cheese and told him he nailed the part with the pirate. At 9:10 p.m., Rachel walked in with a paper bag and a bright tone that wasn't for me. I brought cannoli, she announced, like she was leading with peace. I wiped the counter. How'd the deck go? Great, she said, unpacking dessert. Kevin and I crushed the transitions. Uh-huh. I'm sorry about the reading thing, she added, softer. Calendar mix-up. I'll make the next one. That's fine, I said. She slid a plate toward me. Truce. I leaned a hip against the island. You want to talk truce? Start with your location at midnight. It was the office. Mostly. Then you can toggle on sharing, I said. If you want to keep it off, also fine. We'll revise routines to match. She pushed the plate back toward herself. You're punishing me for having a job. No, I said. I'm declining to be the guy who waits in a hallway for someone who's already down the block. She watched me. I can turn on sharing, she said after a long pause. But you have to drop the 10 p.m. lock. No, I said. Non-negotiable. She smiled like she'd expected that. Of course. She turned on sharing. For a week, her little dot lived mostly at the office, once at Murphy's, once at a sushi place near a hotel off the interstate. She texted, team dinner. I texted back, got it. I took screenshots and filed them. Week 1. She was warmer around the house for 6 days. She asked about my project. She curled up on the couch next to me to watch a crime show. She asked whether I wanted her to pick up our son's cleats on Saturday. I said yes, and she did. I gave her credit for the action, not the tone. That's a rule that keeps your head clear. Sunday night, she wandered into the garage where I was tightening a vise. You've been distant, she said, leaning on the door. I've been consistent, I replied. She studied the pegboard. Do you want this to work, or are you trying to push me out? I want the truth to sit in the room, I said. I want respect to be non-negotiable. If that pushes out anyone who prefers fog, then the house will be quieter, sure. She laughed once. Who talks like that? A man who has made peace with his own company, I said. She pushed off the door and left. The vise held steady. That's the point of a vise. Midweek, our neighbor Trina stopped me by the mailbox. She's the one who hosts themed parties and knows everyone's dog's birthday. Friday, she chirped, tapping a list. Poker night for the guys, wine for the girls, kids in the den with Disney. You two better show. And she leaned in. Rachel said she might bring someone from work. Kevin, you'll like him. I tilted my head. She said that. Yeah, Trina grinned. Big grins when she mentioned him. Must be a star. Got it, I said. We'll see you Friday. Rachel brought it up that evening while she cut up strawberries. Trina's hosting, she said. She asked if I could invite Kevin. He's never been to the neighborhood. Good networking. I rinsed the knife. Is that what we're calling it? She set the knife down. Don't start. Here's the logistics, I said, drying my hands. I'm going to poker. I'm bringing Mark and Jay. If you invite Kevin, he's a guest in my neighborhood, and he'll get the same courtesy I give a guest. I'll shake his hand and ask about his job. You will not treat our house, our son, or our friends like a prop for your office theater. If you want to introduce him around, do it in daylight, not after a week of midnight rehearsals." She frowned. "I don't need your permission to bring a coworker. You need my agreement to fold our family into your late-night reruns. And you don't have it. So I'm supposed to hide my life?" "You're supposed to respect ours," I said. She rolled her eyes. "You're jealous." "I'm observant." She looked at the cutting board. "He's coming," she said. "It's a party, not a tribunal." "Then it'll be educational," I told her, putting the knife in the dishwasher. "For everyone." She shook her head with a half-smile, like I was a stubborn nephew again. "Try not to embarrass yourself." "I'll bring a pie and a smile," I said. "You bring honesty." She snorted. "You first." "Already did," I said, and left the kitchen. Friday found the block glowing. Trina had patio lights up like a postcard. Guys on one side of the yard with chips and cans. Women near the island with a cheese board big enough to land a plane. Kids ran in circles. It was ordinary, which made the next thing better documented. Rachel came in hot at 7:40 with Kevin at her shoulder. He was the type who wears the company hoodie even off the clock, like he's afraid you'll miss his uniform. Slim, talkative eyes. He offered his hand. "Daniel, good to finally meet. I've heard a lot." "I bet you have," I said, giving him a firm, polite grip. "Welcome." He glanced around like he owned the lighting. "Nice place. Great community." "It is," I said. "We built it slow." Trina swooped in. "Kevin, so glad you made it. Rachel says you two are joined at the hip lately." Rachel laughed a little too hard. "We've been grinding," she told the group. "Late nights, big goals." "Hope the deck forgives you," Mark said behind me, dry. Kevin took a beer from the cooler. "When you're chasing something meaningful, you accept sacrifices." I met his eyes. "Sacrifices are easy when other people pay them." He smiled without teeth. "Fair point." The first 20 minutes were normal. Poker started. Jay cracked jokes. Rachel floated between islands like she was curating her feed. She made sure Kevin was positioned in every conversation. It was fine until it wasn't. At 9, Rachel pulled Kevin toward the kitchen to introduce him properly. Properly meant cornering 3 of our friends, Trina, her husband Paul, and a neighbor named Gail, and setting up a little monologue. "Kevin has been my rock," she said, laying a hand on his shoulder like a talk show host. "He gets me. You know when work makes you feel alive? It's like that." Trina raised a brow at me over her glass. Paul looked at the floor. Gail did that supportive nod people do when they're not sure if they should clap. "And Daniel has been patient," Rachel added, with a smile that wasn't kind. "Routine suits him. We balance each other." "Balance requires 2 scales," I said from the fridge, reaching for sparkling water. "And an honest count." She blinked. "We're just talking." "You're branding," I said. "There's a difference." Kevin jumped in. "Rachel's being modest. She's the heartbeat of the team. We're on the verge of something huge." Trina tried a soft deflect. "That's wonderful. But can we not talk shop all night? Paul gets hives." Paul nodded gratefully. Rachel waved a dismissive hand. "It's our life right now. Also," she turned, almost casually, "we might take a quick lap to Murphy's after this. Team tradition. Right, Kev?" He grinned. "1 round." Trina looked to me again, unsure. Gail found a pretzel and ate it like a shield. I set the water on the counter and spoke into the circle. "Before anyone leaves, let's sync expectations. Rachel, you're welcome to stay and be part of the neighborhood party your friends planned. If you choose to leave with your coworker for a tradition, you'll do it as a guest, not a headliner. That means you don't take our friends with you like a parade. Kevin, you're welcome to enjoy Trina's hospitality. You're not welcome to use her house as a runway." Rachel half laughed. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely," I said. "Public behavior, public boundary." Kevin lifted both palms in mock surrender. "Hey, I'm just here for the vibes." "Then you won't mind keeping them in the yard," I said. The room went still in that middle-class way where nobody breathes. Rachel's eyes flashed. "You don't get to tell me where to go." "Correct," I said. "I get to tell you where my family participates. And it's not in your after-party." "I'm not your property," she shot back. "I'm allowed to have fun. I'm allowed to feel." She reached for the word, free. "Freedom is earned by telling the truth," I said, keeping my voice level. "You texted me you were in the office at 1:47 a.m. You tagged Murphy's at 2:10. You've missed 3 school events in a month and called it pace. You've invited a coworker into our neighborhood to audition him like a co-host. That's not freedom. That's disrespect in a nice jacket. Trina cleared her throat. Maybe we. I lifted a hand to her. I've got it, Trina. Then to Rachel. Pick a lane. Be present here or be absent by choice. If you leave, leave. But don't sell it as a love story about progress. Rachel smirked. You're making a scene, Dan. No, I said. I'm ending one. Kevin shifted, looking less sure. We really should. You should listen, I told him. You're standing in a marriage you didn't build. There are policies you don't understand. Companies have them too. I glanced at Trina. Thanks for hosting. We'll head out in 10. Rachel frowned. We just got here. And you just drew your line, I answered. I turned to Mark and Jay. Boys, pack it up. Rachel stepped closer. So that's it. You're dragging me home. I don't drag anyone, I said. I decide where I invest my Friday night. Not here. Not like this. I walked out to the yard and shook Paul's hand. Thanks for the game. Rain check. On the driveway, Mark leaned in. You good? I'm focused, I said. Do me a favor. Duck into Murphy's on your way home. If our stars show up, grab a table behind them and pretend to care about the game on TV. Text me what you see. He nodded. On it. Back at the island, Rachel stood with her chin up. Kevin stared at the backsplash like it had answers. We're leaving, I told her. You can join me or not. But I won't give you a ride to your freedom tour. She looked at Kevin, at Trina, at me. I'll get a ride, she said. Grown woman. I agree, I said. Which is why you can also figure out where you sleep. I thanked Trina and walked out. 10 minutes later, I had our son buckled in the car, the leftover brownies in a container, and a plan. I put our kid to bed and called the attorney's office voicemail. It's Daniel. I'd like to move Thursday's consult to tomorrow at 9, if you can. I'll be early either way. Then I opened my laptop. I started a document, timeline. I listed dates, times, tags, messages. I clipped in the screenshots. I kept it factual. No adjectives. I saved it to a cloud folder I shared with myself at a backup email. At 10:38 my phone buzzed. Mark, Murphy's. Corner booth. Her and Hoodie. Laughing. He ordered fries at 10:29. She's saying we're aligned. He touched her elbow twice. No one else from team here. I texted thank you and turned the phone face down. At 11:52 Rachel texted, staying at Anna's. Don't wait. I added it to the timeline. Then I sent a short email to a work address that wasn't hers. Subject, workplace conduct concern. Body, hello, I'm reaching out as a spouse. I have questions about after-hours conduct between a team lead and an employee that may implicate policy. I prefer to handle privately and professionally. Can we speak Monday? Daniel Gray. I used their company's general HR portal listed on the public site. No accusations. Just concerns and receipts ready if they asked. Then I shut the laptop and slept like a man who'd already decided. Morning, 8:03, pancakes. Our son asked if Mom would take him to soccer. She's with Aunt Anna, I said. He shrugged. Kids adapt to facts faster than adults. At 9 sharp, I sat in the attorney's waiting room with a folder and a pen. She let me back. What's the goal? She asked, flipping open a pad. Respect, I said. Failing that, clarity. I want a draft separation that handles custody, house, and accounts. I want it clean. I'm not interested in theater. She nodded. Any physical risk? No, I said. Just chronic fog. Then we start with a letter and an offer, she said. We can hold it if you want. Or send it if something tips. Tipping is likely, I said. But let's hold until Tuesday. We built the draft. It fit on 6 pages. When she left to print, I stared at a framed photo of a path through birch trees. Calm can be staged, too. On the way home, I stopped by a storage unit I'd reserved. I moved 2 boxes of tools, my winter gear, and my father's old records. I wasn't leaving, I was clearing space. You don't realize how much you've been bumping into the same furniture until you relocate a shelf. Sunday night, Rachel came home before 10. She put on a soft sweater and made tea. She sat on the couch like we were practicing cozy. Can we not do the Cold War? She asked. We can do terms, I said. She set the mug down. Friday got weird. I didn't love being called out in front of everyone. I didn't love being turned into the boring husband in your new pilot, I said. Public theater got a public closing notice. She rubbed her temple. Maybe I pushed it. Maybe I wanted people to see me as more than a mom and your wife. You are more than that, I said. But you don't need a co-host to prove it. Kevin is a friend, she said. That's not what your phone says at 2:10 a.m. She swallowed. We talk about life. He gets the pressure. He makes me feel, she reached again, awake. Then you're tired here, I said. And you don't want to admit it. I want to be free, she said. You make everything a ledger. I make it accountable, I said. I set rules that protect our kid from chaos and me from disrespect. She leaned forward. What if I turn on sharing and cut late nights? What if I try? Could you? She nodded at me. Turn down the clamps? This is not clamps, I said. It's a frame. If you want a shot at rebuilding, it starts with telling your team lead that after-hours hangs are over and telling Kevin he's off your personal time. It also means showing up for our kid without excuses. She looked down at her tea. I can do that, she said. I want to. I miss us. That's generous, I said. Text Kevin now and tell him you're drawing a line. Then we'll see. Her thumbs hovered. She typed something, deleted, typed again, sent. She exhaled. Done, she said. What did you say? That I need space from extra hangs, she said. That I want home to be home. I nodded. Good. She reached for my hand. Thank you. I didn't take it. Actions, not lines. For a few days, actions looked promising. She came home by 9. She sat with our son for homework and went to his game on Tuesday. She asked if I wanted to grab tacos on Wednesday. We did. We talked about yard work and school schedules. She asked about my job and didn't drift to her phone. It was almost normal. Then Thursday at 10:14 p.m., her dot paused near a motel by the interstate. 10 minutes. Then it moved. She texted at 11:05. Late rehearsal ran over. I'm wiped. Be home soon. At 11:20 she came through the door, hair pulled back, voice light. Traffic was awful, she said, dropping her bag. You up? Yep, I said, tapping the counter with my finger. How's the deck? Perfect, she said. Kevin's a machine. Is that what you call him? I asked. She frowned. What's that supposed to mean? It means you're sharing. Spent 10 minutes in the parking lot of a motel where no rehearsal lives, I said. And you texted me from the road like you were doing me a favor. She stood there, calculating. We grabbed a coffee to keep going, she said. There's a cafe there. There's a cafe a block from your building, I said. But you picked a place by a motel at 10 at night. It was convenient, she said. For what? She lifted her chin. I'm not doing this. You already did, I said. This was your last test. Test? She repeated, almost laughing. You set traps now. No traps, I said. Just guardrails. You drove through them. She opened her mouth, closed it. You're suffocating me, she said. I want space. And I want a partner who respects me in public and private, I said. We both won't get what we want here. So what? She said, voice flat. We end it. We end the fog, I said. Tomorrow you'll receive a letter with terms. Read it. Decide if you want to co-author the exit or perform for the neighbors again. You're not serious. I'm precise, I said. Again. She stared at me for a long time, eyes bright in a way I'd seen at 2:10 a.m. You're throwing away our marriage because I had coffee near a motel? I'm ending a pattern where you think words erase coordinates, I said. This isn't about coffee. It's about contempt dressed as ambition. She shook her head and walked past me. You'll regret this. I don't do regret, I said. I do results. I slept on the guest bed. The house hummed. The hum sounded like a clock running out. Friday morning, the letter went out. That afternoon, HR emailed me back. We take concerns seriously. We would like to schedule a confidential call. I replied with a list of times and an offer to forward the timeline. They set Monday at 9. Rachel texted at 5:22. Can we talk tonight? Just us. Tomorrow, I wrote. Not tonight. At 7, she walked into the garage in a denim jacket, keys in hand. Where are you going? I asked without looking up from the bench. Out with the team, she said. We just need to blow off steam. Choose home, I said. Or choose your team. And choose the consequences that come with it. She lingered. This is punishment. No, I said. This is adult math. She left. The garage door came down. I tightened another bolt. At 9, Mark texted. Murphy's again. Same booth. He looks nervous tonight. She looks like she's auditioning for a new city. I didn't answer. At 10, I sent HR 2 documents. the timeline, and a 10-slide deck of screenshots with dates and times. No commentary, just context. Monday at 9, I took the call. They were professional, careful. I was calm. "We're not here to hurt anyone," the compliance officer said. "We're here to protect the workspace." "That's all I need," I said. "Your policy says supervisors should avoid after-hours one-on-ones that create the appearance of favoritism. I'm showing you after-hours one-on-ones, location tags, and a pattern that's bleeding into neighbors' homes. Handle it how you handle things." They asked me not to share that we'd spoken. I agreed. I'm not in the splash business. By Thursday, Rachel's tone changed again. She made dinner and set the table like a commercial. She wore a soft dress I'd always liked. "Let's reset," she said, pouring water. "I can change the deck schedule. I can ask to shift teams. I want this to work." "You've had 2 resets," I said. "Both ended in a motel parking lot." She forced a laugh. "It was 10 minutes. It was enough." She leaned forward. "I'll prove it. I'll step back from nights. I'll stop the after-party runs. She swallowed. "I'll distance from Kevin." "That's the right thing," I said. "But I'm not continuing this marriage. Consider those changes a courtesy to your next chapter." Her fork clinked. "You can't be serious." "We're past serious," I said. "We're at done. You're going to blow up our family because you're insecure? I'm going to make sure our son sees a father who won't accept disrespect in his own kitchen," I said. "He'll learn boundaries from someone." She pushed her plate away. "You're cruel." "I'm consistent," I said. Again. That night, I moved 2 more boxes to the unit. I left my wedding photo album on the living room shelf. I'm not erasing a history. I'm adjusting course. Friday morning at 8:30, Rachel's company calendar flashed a meeting. All hands compliance update. At noon, Mark texted from a guy who knew a guy at her office. Heard there's fallout. I didn't dig. I had nothing to celebrate. I went to the gym and pushed iron until my brain quieted. At 2, Rachel walked in white-faced, grabbed a glass, and poured water like it was 20 years old. "You did this," she said. "I reported a pattern," I said. "They enforced a policy. They put Kevin on leave," she said. "They moved me to a different line while they reviewed. Then they took it seriously," I said. "They said there were perception challenges," she spat. "They asked about Murphy's. They had screenshots. They must read social media," I said. She stared at me, breathing hard, then softened, just like that. "We can fix this," she said. "Please. I'll distance. I'll do the mom thing. We can take a trip. Reset, for real." "It's late," I said. "It doesn't have to be," she insisted. "We have years, Dan. We have a family. We have a house," I said. "For now." She reached for my arm. "Please. I'm not a man you beg," I said. "I'm a man you respect early, or you lose late." Tears sat in the corners of her eyes. She wiped them hard, angry at them, angry at me. "You want to ruin me." "I'm not interested in you ruined," I said. "I'm interested in me whole." She looked past me at the living room where our son's Lego set crouched on the carpet like a small city. "What do we tell him?" "The truth he can handle," I said. "That mom and dad will live in 2 places, and he's not a referee." She shook her head, bitter and small. "You think you've won." "There's nothing to win," I said. "Only standards to keep." Her shoulders settled. "Fine," she said. "Send your letter. I'll see you at mediation." "No mediation," I said. "Agreement or not, we're done. We'll sign and file, then divide the Saturdays. No theater." She walked to the hallway and stopped. "You'll miss me." "I'll miss who you were," I said, "and who I was around you. Both have left the building." She went to the bedroom and closed the door. The latch clicked with that little hammer again. The weekend was logistics. She packed a bag and said she'd stay with Anna. I boxed up the rest of my tools and a few framed photos I wanted for the office. Our son stayed with me and built a spaceship. We ate pizza on the floor and watched a movie that made him laugh. He asked once, "Is mom mad?" I said, "She's sad and figuring things out." He nodded. Kids are better at truth than adults. Monday, Rachel didn't go to work. Tuesday, she went and came back early. Wednesday, HR sent her home again. Thursday, she texted, "They let Kevin go." Below it, another line. "I'm on a performance improvement plan." I didn't reply. I had nothing kind, and I'm done with unkind. On Friday, I signed the agreement at the attorney's. It was clean. Joint custody with a schedule fixed to school halves. House to be sold in 90 days, or I buy out her share at a set number we both picked. Account split. No drama. No names called. Just lines on paper. Saturday morning, she showed up at the house to swap weekends and pick up a box of clothes. She wore a sweatshirt and a look I used to trust. "I can still fix this," she said on the porch. "You can fix you," I said. "That's the only fix that matters now. You're colder than I thought." "I'm calmer than you hoped," I said. She looked around the porch like answers might fall from the eaves. "Say something," she pushed. "Something real." I studied the yard we'd watered for a decade. "Okay," I said. "Here's real. You wanted to feel alive. You wanted status. You wanted out from under what you called routine. You built a runway with late nights and bar tags and hallway laughter. You forgot I know what real looks like. Real is 8 p.m. math homework and Saturday coffee and showing up to the reading. Real is telling the truth when it's boring. Real is not dragging neighbors into your audition. I'm not mad at you for wanting heat. I'm done because you lit the house to get it." She flinched. Then she smiled, but it was the kind that doesn't reach anyone. "You'll be back," she said. "You'll miss the noise." "I've got enough noise in my head," I said. "I've started to prefer quiet." She lifted the box, turned, then paused. "Last chance." "For what?" I asked. "To be your audience." I stepped back. "Show's over." Her eyes narrowed. She walked away. I closed the door, leaned against it for one breath, then unlocked it for myself and went to make pancakes. I flipped the first one too early. It folded on itself, and I fixed it with a spatula. That's life. You lift, reshape, keep going. Months rolled. The house sold on schedule. I bought a smaller place on a street with big trees and a driveway good for chalk drawings. I kept the truck I like because it's practical, not pretty. My shop got a corner with better light than our old garage. On my weeks, our son and I cooked terrible omelets and decent chili. He grew. That's what they do. I didn't talk about Rachel to people who wanted gossip. If someone asked, I said, "We disagreed about rules. I enforced mine, and we both live with it." I switched jobs twice by choice, moving to a company that pays for quality workmanship and respects weekends. The foreman's name is Jorge. He's a straight shooter with a laugh that fills the room. The team feels like a crew, not a therapy group. It's clean. It's good. On a Thursday evening 6 months out, I met a woman named Claire at a hardware store. She asked me which drill bit to buy for tile. We argued about it, and then laughed. We got coffee. She asked real questions. She shows up when she says she will. She knows the names of her neighbors' dogs. I don't have to explain why I like quiet. She likes it too. Once, at a kid's soccer game, Trina sat beside me. She isn't neutral. She never will be. But she has a big heart. "You look lighter," she said, glancing at my face like she was checking for storm clouds. "I am," I said. "I ran into Rachel at the store," Trina added, cautious. "She's different. Quieter. She said she moved into a one-bedroom near downtown. She's consulting. Kevin left town." I didn't ask. "People adjust," I said. "She asked how you were," Trina said. "I'm all right," I told her. "Better than all right." She nodded and watched the kids chase the ball. "You handled that the way most people only talk about handling things," she said. "With rules." "I handled it the only way I could live with," I said. "That's enough." On my porch that night, Claire handed me a beer and we watched the street. A neighbor pulled in. Dogs barked once and then shut up. My phone buzzed. "Rachel," a short text. "Heard you bought the place. Glad for you." I typed back, "Thank you. Hope you find what you're chasing." Then I turned the screen down and looked at my life. I have a place that's mine. I have a kid who knows I keep my word. I have a truck that starts, a shop that's clean, a woman who respects quiet, a foreman who pays on time, and friends who don't need a Broadway script to invite me over. People think the last line happens in the fight. It doesn't. It happens on a common Tuesday, in a calm house, when someone asks for one more second chance, and you say the sentence that saves your life. When Rachel texted months ago after the party and the motel and the letter, asking for the final talk, I gave her 4 words at the door that I meant then and mean now. "Your access is closed." She looked at me like a stranger. That's because, in that moment, she met one. I shut the door. Then I opened my own. And I walked through.